Okay, so picture this. World War II has just ended, and a lot of artists are looking around at the world, and they're just seeing a place where logic completely failed and meaning seems to have just evaporated. So, to try and capture that feeling, they created this whole new way of telling stories, one that plays by a totally different set of rules. Or, maybe no rules at all. So, let's go ahead and step through the looking glass into the wild world of absurdist theater. So, fishing rod. That's it. What on earth does that mean? Is it a statement, a question, an object? Just hold that thought, because that little bit of confusion you're feeling right now, that is exactly where we need to begin. All right, we are now entering a world that has been intentionally stripped of all cause and effect. A place where all those little connections that we take for granted every single day, they just don't exist anymore. I want you to imagine your daily routine, right? But at every single step, the thing you expect to happen is replaced by something completely and utterly unrelated. So instead of turning a key to start your car, maybe you just whistle a tune. That total disconnect between action and outcome, that's the absolute foundation of the absurd. Now, you might be thinking, a world without logic? That sounds like total chaos. And, well, you're not wrong. It is. But believe it or not, there is one guiding principle that these playwrights used to create all of this beautiful chaos. The key to this entire universe is the non sequitur. It's a Latin term that pretty much just means it does not follow. And for playwrights like Eugene Ionesco, this was the perfect tool. See, in this world, a non sequitur isn't a mistake in a conversation. It is the only way to communicate. So let's see how this actually works. We'll take a really simple scenario. Two people are meeting for the first time. How on earth do you say hello in a world that only runs on non sequiturs? And there it is again. This is our new hello. So you can forget hi or how are you. The normal greeting is now this completely random two-word phrase. But what's really interesting is, what is the correct way to respond to that? Did you catch that? The reply has absolutely nothing to do with the greeting. It just completely ignores the first thing that was said. And this breakdown of conversational logic, that is the entire point. It's funny, it's jarring, and it immediately makes us aware of all the unspoken rules that we follow every single day without even thinking about them. Okay, a simple greeting is one thing, but what happens when we apply this rule of unreason to something a lot more complex, something emotionally charged, like a romantic breakup? Well, this is where the absurdity really starts to ramp up. So here's the crucial part. It's all about how the absurdity just unravels reality itself. A breakup, that's a familiar idea. But then the logic just starts to disintegrate. Barbara reveals she isn't Barbara at all, but a man named Smith. And then, just when you're trying to wrap your head around that, it turns out Smith is John's very own Siamese twin brother. I mean, each new piece of information just demolishes identity and relationships, and it leaves the characters and us in the audience with absolutely no solid ground to stand on. And all of this brings us to what emotions even look like in the absurd. After all this confusion, this unraveling of conversations, relationships, and even identity, what does it even look like to feel something here? This is it. This is our answer. After a character takes a fall, this is what they say. Not, I'm okay, or I'm in pain, but happy as a potato. It's a statement of emotion that is so bizarre, so completely disconnected from any shared human experience that it forces us to question the very words we use for our own feelings. And this just perfectly illustrates the central question, doesn't it? What does that mean? Is a potato content? Buried? Full of earthy potential? The phrase is a total blank slate. It strips the word happy of all its normal meaning. And it forces us to ask what it means to feel anything at all when our usual language just fails us. So, why do this? Why did these playwrights go to all the trouble of creating these bizarre worlds that just refuse to make sense? Well, it turns out there's a really profound purpose behind all of the madness. This is what plays like Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot do so brilliantly. By showing us a world without any clear logic, absurdist theater forces us to see the bars of our own cage. It was born from the philosophy of absurdism, which was championed by thinkers like Albert Camus. And he argued that humans are these creatures who are desperately searching for meaning in what is ultimately a meaningless universe. So these plays don't offer answers. They just put the question on stage, showing us how silly our social rules can be and how we keep going even when we're not really sure why. So we're going to leave you with this. Our language and our logic, they build our shared reality. But if all of that disappeared and you had to greet the world with a new, nonsensical phrase that was entirely your own, what would it be? What's your fishing rod?